Ranking Member Waltz, members of the committee. On behalf of Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America and our more than 425,000 members, thank you for your time 2 weeks ago as IAVA introduced our She Who Borne the Battle campaign. We look forward to working with you and your staff to fully recognize and improve services for women veterans. We also thank you for the opportunity to share our assessment of ongoing concerns with the Veterans Crisis Line today. Mental health and suicide prevention remains one of the top concerns of our members, where 75% of respondents to our recent survey still believe troops and veterans are not getting the care they need for mental health injuries. I'm here today not only as IAVA's Director of Intergovernmental Affairs, but also as a former Army captain and a combat veteran of the Iraq War. I was a military intelligence officer, a leader of men and women in combat, and I bore witness to the trauma and anguish several of my friends and soldiers endured when dealing with suicide. While I am internally grateful that my soldiers were saved by mental health interventions, I mourn the loss of my sisters and brothers in arms who lost their battle and died by suicide. I am giving voice to all of us who served in the invisible wounds of war as I speak today. In 2007, IAVA fought for and celebrated the passage of the Joshua and Big Suicide Prevention Act, which among other things required the establishment of the VCL. IAVA signed an agreement with the VCL in 2012 and continues to partner with them today to ensure our vets are aware of the critical services the VCL offers, as well as to provide crisis support to clients who are seeking help from IAVA's Rapid Response Referral Program, or RIP. To date, our RIP veteran transition managers have referred nearly 200 clients to the VCL. These clients share both positive and negative stories of their experiences with the VCL. IAVA wants to get to a place where all feedback we receive about the VCL is positive. The VA has publicly addressed VCL's inability to handle call volume and its reliance upon a backup call center to field these calls, but they haven't addressed the additional findings of the IG report that point to larger, more systemic issues: the VCL's governance structure, operations, and quality assurance protocols. IAVA strongly urges the VA to reconsider its management structure of the Veterans Crisis Line. There must be a dual leadership structure in which an operations lead can oversee the functional aspects of the call line, while a clinical lead oversees the clinical aspects. These roles must be complementary and cooperative to ensure the success and safety of both clients of the VCL and the responders who are answering their calls. Finally, the Office of Suicide Prevention must be heavily engaged with the operations, quality assessment, and oversight of the VCL. IAVA implores the VA to also consider whether the level of clinical support provided to each call responder is appropriate, how the VCL is addressing self-care among responders, and what mechanisms are in place to prevent staff burnout and experienced responders from moving on. Compassion fatigue is real. Moreover, applying a sterilized quality assurance protocol that could easily be templated for determining a customer service rating for your home cable installer is woefully insufficient for our veterans. We would expect the Veterans Crisis Line would fall under the purview of two laws championed by IAVA: the Clay Hunt SAVE Act, which requires the annual evaluation of VA's mental health and suicide prevention program, and the Female Veteran Suicide Prevention Act, which goes a step further to require analysis of these programs by gender. Our She Who Borne the Battle campaign is anchored in the fact that women veterans are the fastest growing population, yet often go unrecognized. We don't know how many women veterans use the VCL, nor how effective the VCL is providing support for women, or even if they're welcomed by a responder that is answering their call. As part of our She Who Borne the Battle campaign, we recognize that the motto of the VA functions as a symbolic barrier perceived by many women veterans like myself, emblematic of our lack of parity and care compared to our male counterparts. Perhaps this culture is trickling down to the VCL. A holistic program evaluation, including gender-specific data, should be conducted to know for certain. We point to IAVA's RIP program as a model for mental health case management. This high-tech, high-touch program has served over 7,800 clients to date, 20% of them women, connecting them with quality resources and benefits, many who may not have been eligible for VA care due to other than honorable discharge status. We put a strong emphasis on client follow-up, customer satisfaction at RIP. Programs like RIP complement the VCL and are valuable partners by supporting veterans and their families who are not in immediate crisis, but are at risk if these types of services are not provided. Often veterans have seen bad news stories about the VA or have had a bad experience, and they come to us instead. We're often one of the best on-ramps for veterans into VA support. I cannot stress enough the gratitude IAVA has for those who staff the VCL call lines and are there to support the hundreds of thousands of calls received per year. In our latest survey, 20% of respondents have reached out to the VCL on their own behalf on behalf of a loved one. This is a critical, often life-saving resource for our community. 65% of our latest survey personally know a post 9/11 veteran who has attempted suicide, while 58% know a veteran who died by suicide. As one of those respondents who personally knows veterans who have either attempted or died by suicide, this issue is deeply personal to me, and one we must resolve swiftly. Thank you again for the opportunity to share IAVA's assessment of the VCL. We look forward to working with you in the VA in the months ahead to improve this essential resource. Thank you for your time. I look forward to any questions you may have.
Thank you. Mr. Young, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Good morning, Chairman Rowe, Ranking Member.